The cost approach is a fundamental valuation method for the national portion of the real estate exam and relies on the principle of substitution, which suggests that a rational buyer will not pay more for an existing property than it would cost to buy the land and build a similar structure from scratch. You will find this method most applicable for special purpose buildings such as libraries, schools, or churches, where there are no comparable sales to look at and the property does not generate income. When you see a question asking for the value of a brand new construction or a unique historical building, you should immediately think of the cost approach. The formula for the cost approach is simple on the surface, but contains several layers where the exam will try to trip you up. You start by estimating the value of the land as if it were vacant and being put to its highest and best use. A critical rule to remember for the exam is that land is never depreciated. If a question gives you a total value and asks you to calculate depreciation, you must subtract the land value first, because land stays constant in these calculations. After you have the land value, you add the cost of the improvements, which is the current cost to build the structure new today. There are two ways to look at this cost. Reproduction cost is the expense to build an exact replica using the same materials and standards as the original. Replacement cost is the expense to build a structure with similar utility using modern materials and methods. The exam often tests the difference by asking which one is more appropriate for an older home with high ceilings and ornate woodwork. In that case, reproduction cost would capture the unique character, while replacement cost would focus on modern functionality. You might also see terms like the quantity survey method, which is the most detailed and time-consuming way to estimate cost, or the square foot method, which is the most common and involves multiplying the area by a cost factor. Once you have the cost new, you must subtract accumulated depreciation. This is where the exam gets technical, with 3 specific types of loss in value. Physical deterioration is your standard wear and tear, such as a leaky roof or peeling paint. Functional obsolescence refers to design flaws or outdated features, like a 5-bedroom house with only 1 bathroom or a kitchen layout that no longer works for modern living. External or economic obsolescence is the most dangerous because it occurs outside the property boundaries and is almost always incurable. Examples include a new highway being built next to a quiet neighborhood or a factory moving in across the street. A common trap on the exam is confusing curable and incurable depreciation. Curable means the cost to fix the issue is less than the value it adds to the property. Incurable means the repair costs more than the resulting value increase, or in the case of external obsolescence, is entirely beyond the owner's control. Another way the exam tests your knowledge of depreciation is through the age-life method. This involves taking the effective age of the property and dividing it by the total economic life to find the percentage of depreciation. For example, if a building has an effective age of 10 years and a total economic life of 50 years, it has depreciated by 20%. You must apply this percentage to the cost of the improvements only, and never to the land value. To keep this straight in your head, remember the phrase, "land is like a diamond," because it never loses its value through depreciation. You always treat the land as a separate component in your math. If you remember that land value plus cost new minus depreciation equals the final estimate, you will be well prepared for any variation of this topic on test day. Many students fail because they try to depreciate the entire property or they get confused between functional and external factors. Keep your focus on the location of the problem and whether it can be fixed to distinguish between the different types of depreciation. This method is the primary tool for appraisers when the market data approach and the income approach do not provide enough evidence to support a reliable value.